my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kailin and I post videos every single Saturday with a few sprinkled here and there. I post mainly about eating disorder recovery and also about intuitive eating. And today we are going to be making a pumpkin loaf bread thing. And I'm also going to be answering some of your questions. People left questions on the community tab for me and also on Instagram. I put up a little sticker on my story and you guys asked some questions. A lot of them have to do with recovery and also about my personal life. Let's get started. By the way, the recipe that I will be using will be linked in the description down below. So somebody asked, what do you do when you are craving something and it's just not around? It's not in your house, it's not available. How do you go about that, especially when it comes to intuitive eating and at the beginning of your journey, you want to eat things that your body is craving? So in this case, there are two options. The first option is that you can try to make a copycat recipe at home. So if you're craving a donut but you can't go out, or there's, all the donut places are closed, you can either make them at home, or the second option is to plan to have it when it's available next. So you're not coming from a place of restriction saying that you can't have something. It's just that it's simply not available. So you can either make the copycat recipe or you can plan to have it later on in the week. Because we have to be a little bit realistic. Sometimes things aren't available. Sometimes they're not in our reach. And that's okay. But I think the biggest thing to remember is that you are not restricting. It's not a restrictive pattern. It's just something that is not presently available to you. A question that I get asked a lot is, what do I do for work? I work from home, and right now I'm just working for the city. Basically, as a secretary, I help when residents of the city have questions. I help run children's programs, adult senior programs, like fitness classes and things like that. So I do a lot of the registration for people over the phone. I went to university and I studied creative writing. That's too much, is it? Because ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to become a writer. I have been working on the same book for the past 5 years. It's changed a lot. I've had to restart many times, but it's a dystopian fiction that is made for young adults, and I'm really passionate about it. I love writing. I always have. I always wrote little stories when I was in elementary school, and I'd give them to my teachers. I was that annoying kid that would be like, read my stories, please. And my teachers were always nice enough to read. So I'm on contract until March. I'm just replacing somebody who is on maternity leave, essentially. And then when she comes back in March, I will be jobless again. But by then, I will probably be doing freelance writing, and I'm gonna continue to do YouTube, probably a couple more videos a week because I'll have a little bit more time. And I'm also looking into becoming an eating disorder recovery coach. I'm not sure if any of you would be interested, but that's something that sounds very fulfilling. And my main goal with these videos and my main goal with my Instagram account, it's to help people recover. It's to help people feel okay. But yes, I work a city job. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future. Yeah. Somebody says, do you enjoy reading? If so, what are some of your favorite books? If you guys follow me on Instagram, you will know that I read 2 to 3 books a week. I am obsessed with books. The book that I'm reading right now is called The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ward. The majority of the books that I read are mystery and thrillers and psychological thrillers. I really love things that make me terrified to go to bed at night. I don't know why. I am also obsessed with true crime. My favorite true crime YouTubers are probably Kendall Ray and Eleanor Neal. I'll link both of them down below. They are so good. If you like true crime, check them out. I moved you a little bit closer, so let me know what you think. But yeah, I love true crime. My favorite classics are One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and To Kill a Mockingbird. And my recent favorites are Where the Crawdads Sing. I really like, as far as thrillers and mystery goes, I like anything by Ruth Ward or Gillian Flynn. She wrote Gone Girl, and there's a big movie. She's a good writer. My favorite book by her is probably Dark Places. But I love books. I can talk about books all day. Let me know if you want a video dedicated to books. So my favorite books, books that you should pass on, books that are overrated, whatever you want, I'll do it. So I get a lot of questions about my boyfriend and what he does and how we met. And I spoke briefly in another Q&A about how we met, but basically the short version is that we both played volleyball together at the local YMCA for probably about a year. We were both in other relationships and we're just friendly with one another. And then we both got out of those relationships, flirted back and forth for a couple of months, and the rest is history. And now we have a house and 2 dogs. And honestly, he's the love of my life. And for people who ask what he does, he is an actuary, and a lot of people don't know what that is, and I'll put the definition on the screen. And as far as him being in videos, honestly, probably not. And oh shoot. And I think that the main reason is just because I like to keep my private life private. Honestly, if I have kids in the future, they'll probably be on the channel and I'll probably show them just as much as I show the dogs. But he's a shy person. He also doesn't fully get YouTube and that people show their partners or people do videos with their partners and stuff like that. I'll probably do videos with friends in the future or with my sister, but I'm not sure if I will do them with him. I don't want to make any promises. So as of right now, don't expect any videos with him in the future, but it doesn't mean that he won't appear in any, if that makes sense. Somebody else asks, what is your favorite holiday? Probably Halloween. I love it. I also love celebrating other people's birthdays. I love getting presents for people. It's so fun. So I also like Christmas, but I love baking cakes for people and making people feel really special. So honestly, anybody else's birthday or Halloween, because I love, like I said, true crime, spooky season. I love the fall. It's my favorite season in the whole world. Comment your favorite season down below because whew, I love fall. So I received a lot of questions about extreme hunger and bloating and does it end, and did you experience extreme hunger, and if so, how long did it last? And I want to emphasize that no, not everybody experiences extreme hunger. And also it is so different for every single individual. My experience with extreme hunger is going to be so different from yours. For some people, their extreme hunger lasts for months, sometimes even up to a year. And that bloating can be very uncomfortable, but I think the biggest thing to understand is that it is part of the process. Embrace the bloat. It's your body. Your body is beautiful at every single stage, but it can be uncomfortable. So what I did was I wore clothes that were like super baggies. I wore my boyfriend's sweatpants, big, huge t-shirts, just things that kind of, in a way, hid my body, but not because I was embarrassed of what my body looked like, but just because I wanted to stop body checking in the mirror. And the tighter my clothes were, the more often I would look at myself in the mirror and try to body check, if that makes sense. Bloating can be super uncomfortable, and extreme hunger can also be really annoying at some points. I don't know if it was just me who found it annoying, because I would have just eat and then go and do something and try to be productive, and then I'd have to go eat again because I was starving, 2 minutes after my meal. And I just want to say that hunger doesn't have a schedule. You're hungry sometimes, especially with extreme hunger. You can never ignore those cues, as well as mental hunger. You're thinking about food for a reason. Somebody says, do you have any tips for eating fear foods earlier on in the day, and what helped you break the cycle once and for all? So I'm assuming by break the cycle you mean consuming fear foods. And I know that it's scary, but the only way to break the cycle or any restrictive patterns is to eat the food you fear often. So for example, I know in the message that you sent, you spoke about pastries and bagels. So if one of your fear foods, especially breakfast foods, is a pastry or a bagel, I challenge you, and you should challenge yourself to eat that food every single day for breakfast until you're not scared of it anymore, which is basically what I did. So if your fear food is cereal, go to the store, get a box of cereal, and have cereal every single morning for breakfast. Because soon you're gonna realize that wow, I'm a human being and I shouldn't be afraid of cereal, or I shouldn't be afraid of bread. I'm capable of so much. Why am I scared of food? By the way, for those of you who don't know, I'm baking this pumpkin bread for a Fear Food video, which will be up right after this one on Halloween. So fun stuff. But yes, the only way to break a cycle or any kind of restrictive pattern and to get over it in a sense is just to keep consuming it until it no longer freaks you out. Somebody asked, what motivated you to start recovery? It's a great question. I can probably stand here for hours and tell you all of the benefits about recovery. If you want a video about all of the benefits, then let me know. Also, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. My biggest dream ever since I was a little girl was to become a mom. I lost my mom when I was really, really young, and I just grew up wanting to be around for my kids, wanting to be a good role model for them. I want a big family, well, big, I want like 3 kids, if that's possible, if that's what's in store for me. And I don't want my kids to go through what I did. And I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. And I also want to be a good role model to them when it comes to my relationship with food and my body. So that's also a big turning point for me. Am I trying to have kids right now? No. I want to be the best version of myself for them. And that version is not somebody who is obsessing over food and somebody who is obsessing over calories. So that's probably one of my reasons why as well. Somebody says, what is your biggest insecurity? You know what, for my whole life, it was probably my body. You know, I was super insecure about every part of my body. Doesn't matter, you could say my feet, my toes, my boobs, my stomach, whatever it was. That's what I would have said from age, you know, like 7 to 20. And now, I think it's so amazing that nothing exactly comes to mind. Like, I have really big fears. Like, some of my big fears are obviously losing somebody, but never finishing my book. Like, it's not really an insecurity, but it's something that I hope, fingers crossed, never happens. It's something that I'm putting out into the universe that I'm going to publish this book. I work hard on it. But insecurity-wise, nothing really is coming to mind, and it doesn't mean that I don't have bad days where I look at my body and I'm like, you know, have these negative thoughts, or I look at my face and I think so many things. But I've put so much work into myself and into self-improvement and things like that that nothing comes to mind, and I think that that's a good thing. Somebody says, I always eat big portions, especially at dinner. Do you think this is bad? Absolutely not. Somebody said, when and how did you fall in love with reading? I always loved reading. Like I said, I wrote stories when I was a little kid and made my teachers read every single story. There is a book, I think it was called The Diamond Brothers. It was like a mystery book. I really loved that as a kid. I loved the Goosebumps books. I loved the Hunger Games trilogy. I thought it was great. I loved the series of Unfortunate Events as a kid. I'm probably overmixing this a lot, but whatever. Honestly, the sad truth is that when I was younger, we kind of went from hospital to hospital for my mom's care. And I was born in 1996, so we didn't really have like iPads or anything to keep kids entertained. You know, there was just the book, which I loved, which I hope to pass on to my kids too. But so we would bring books to the hospital with us, so we always had kind of another world to escape into. And that's probably why I write the fiction that I write. It's for young adults. It's for anybody, you know, like, well, I think YA fiction is honestly for anybody. But I want to create an escape for people. Is it a happy escape? Like, are my books happy? Not really. A lot of bad things happen in them. There's bad people in them, but I love the stories. And I've honestly always loved reading, but I think some of those books that I named, also the Inkheart series by Cornelia Funke, loved those as a kid. I got a lot of questions about weight gain, and I'm going to make a whole video about that because it's really hard to describe in a couple of sentences how to deal with gaining weight. So I will make another video about that. Somebody says, if you could only have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? This is really hard because I go through a lot of phases with food. Sometimes, like at dinner, for example, I'll have a wonderful meal and I'll love it, and the next day I'll look at that food and think that it's disgusting and I don't want it near me at all. I go through really weird phases. Bagel with cream cheese and smoked salmon, probably one of my favorite things out there. And if you saw my last What I Eat in a Week video, I think you know. Somebody asked, what's your favorite activity to do with loved ones or your boyfriend? If our dogs are behaving, I love to go on long walks with them. That is super nice. We are very big home bodies. Even before Corona, we never really went out much. I think I've been to a club like twice in my life. Don't come for me, it's just not for me. I don't really want old 40-year-old men grinding up on my butt. Probably cracking open a nice bottle of wine and watching some Netflix with our favorite food and our boys, or also going to the country and just taking it easy, going on a nice hike. We used to do a lot of hiking together. It's a lot harder with the dogs. Where we're from, there aren't a lot of dog-friendly hiking trails, which I find is really surprising. And the ones that are dog-friendly are super steep, and when you have a dog that's 100 pounds pulling you down on a very steep incline, they dragged me on my butt many times, to be honest. Somebody says, where would you love to live? So for those of you who don't know, I am from Canada. I am from Montreal. I'll answer this quickly because my battery is gonna die, but I would probably stay in Canada and we would love to move to BC. Right now we've bought a house, we're staying here, and most likely we'll stay here, but it's one of my favorite places ever, especially Victoria, BC. I'll insert a couple of pictures here so you get the gist of how beautiful it is. Anyway, it's about time that I put this pumpkin loaf into the oven, and I will show you guys when it's done and possibly answer a couple more of your questions. So this is what they look like before going into the oven. It actually makes a lot. I think it's supposed to make 2 of these loaf pans. I only have 1, so I put it in this rectangular one. But you're gonna cook it at 325 for around an hour or so, and I'll show you guys when it's all done, and then of course we're gonna do a taste test. I love baking and cooking, but it's the cleanup for me. Not a fan, to be honest. So I'm going to clean all of this stuff up right now. There's nothing better than a clean kitchen. You guys, I'm so proud of myself. Look how good this looks, and if you could smell it, oh my god. So while it cools down, I kind of want this in frame. Hold on, there we go. It smells so good. So I'm going to try to answer a couple more questions. I am definitely not going to be able to get through all of them, but I'm going to go through them very, very quickly. What are your favorite snacks or meals that you remember loving or hating when you were little? Okay, my favorite snack ever, and probably to this day, and it started when I was a kid, is definitely cheese and crackers, specifically cream cheese and like Breton crackers, or Breton, whatever the brand name is. I'll put a picture here. Those are so good. I love cream cheese and crackers, probably my favorite thing ever. Somebody asked, do you still have fear foods? No, I wouldn't say that I have fear foods. There's still some foods that make me more uncomfortable than others, but not as uncomfortable as I used to be. I honestly don't have a lot of anxiety when it comes to food anymore, and I'm so thankful for that. And I think a big part of it was making these videos and showing everybody that food is just food and it doesn't have a moral tie to you or anything like that. The thing that I probably have to work on most would be like takeaway food and also drinks that are very calorically dense. That's probably where I have to work on. So like milkshakes and things like that still give me a little bit of stress and anxiety. Oh, somebody says, would you ever consider becoming a recovery coach? I think so. Like I mentioned before, it's something I'm not sure if people would be interested in, but I know that there are certifications online that I could take to become a recovery. I also have a lot of questions about exercise, and I've gotten a lot of comments on videos too about what my relationship with exercise is, and also whether or not I'm exercising and I am currently, and in my next What I Eat in a Week video, I'm going to have a whole segment in the video about my relationship with exercise and how I went about it, and basically a little bit of my story when it comes to exercise, because it's a little bit too long to have in this video, but I am going to be talking about that in an upcoming video. My favorite color is pink. It used to be yellow, but honestly, I freaking love pink. Favorite animal is a dog. I'm not really a cat person, but honestly, I love all animals. And the last question that I'm gonna answer for today is, how are you? How am I doing? And honestly, is this too hot to touch? Yeah. I'm doing really great. 2 weeks ago when I posted that What I Eat in a Week video, I was really struggling with loving my body. And I've been doing really, really great recently. It just shows that some weeks are amazing and other weeks are really, really hard. And that's just how recovery goes. It's up, it's down, and I'm okay with it. I'm learning to deal with those weeks that are really hard. I'm learning to deal with them in my own way. And right now I'm really happy. I'm in a good place with my writing, with my reading. I'm at a really good place with my body, and just how I feel about myself. I have really great friends. I have positive people in my life. My circle, like I said in a couple of videos ago, like my circle is really, really small. I don't have, you know, a million friends, and I'm okay with that. But anyway, this is still really hot, but it's time for a taste test.
Baby, wait, I know that you're afraid, but it'll be okay if you just stay with me. And we can run from here, and we can disappear, and they won't find us where we are going, dear. So
All right, let's try our creation. Still really hot. That is some good ass pumpkin bread. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this style of video where I'm just baking and answering your questions. And if you do like it, then I'll definitely do more of them in the future, because you guys are always so full of questions and I love answering them. But again, thank you so much. I will see you in my next video. I post videos every single Saturday, and I would love it if you stuck around and subscribed. So bye, I'll see you in my next video.